So it's really in our human nature to daydream, to let our minds wander and let our imagination explore possibilities that seem way beyond the realm of our current reality. And this is because I truly believe that the spark of our consciousness has an impulse to expand, to explore, to unfold into more of its potential. So while we have this innate ability to daydream, not everyone seems to have realized this state of expansion. In fact, in your personal life, think back to how many times you have had a dream, an impulse that kind of recharged you for a moment. You felt really clear. You set the goal. You were going to make the change. You were once and for all, you were going to do the thing. You were going to make the shift. And maybe you get going with a little bit of momentum, but before you know it, oh man, here comes life again. Here comes the obstacle again. And it's so easy because our narrative, our paradigm has this script where those obstacles appear from the outside in. They're there to stop us. And we get into this victim mentality, right? And then we're stuck. If it's the external world versus us, we'll never win, right? So we really have to begin to reframe the narrative about what those obstacles are and where they come from. And how about this for a flip of the script? There's a concept from this book, which is a wonderful book. It's called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And there's a concept in here called upper limiting. And it's this phenomena that we all experience where we move in the direction of a goal or a vision or a new version of ourselves, but something sabotages us. And in this vision, instead of seeing that sabotage, that obstacle as an external limitation, we take responsibility for it. And we understand that this is actually one of our old programs, one of our old paradigms appearing to block us because there's some aspect of ourselves that's still really attached and stuck to this smaller version of ourselves. We may be uncomfortable or unhappy, but at least it's known. It's a known unhappiness. And that, so some aspect of ourselves feels safer than an expanded version of ourselves where it's unknown. One of my teachers, Bob Proctor, used to call this the terror barrier. I love that term as well. And he used to frame it in this way where it's not just a mental concept. Our nervous system is literally reacting to this barrier that we're up against, maybe considering crossing. Our nervous system, our internal alignment, our subconscious mind is kind of screaming. But wait, this isn't us. This isn't right. Our self-image hasn't shifted. So we experience literal anxiety and terror. And in the concept of upper limiting, which is just another way of framing this, we take responsibility and we say, okay, rather than being a victim, let me reframe this obstacle that came up as a manifestation of my own limiting paradigm, kind of making excuses for me to not move into that scary place of discomfort. Okay. And he even breaks down a few different types of upper limiting. So one is worry. Excessive worry kind of slows us down and hobbles us. And I'm going to come back to that in just a second. Deflecting, and this is kind of like part of this victimization, criticism and blame, externally blaming others. I would have done this thing. I would have expanded and grown if it wasn't for them and this circumstance and the economy and that, right? This is criticism and blame. Squabbling. You might suddenly find yourself arguing with a partner, with a spouse, with a colleague, and it's just taking up time and energy and it's distracting you away from your goal, right? Even getting sick or getting hurt can be a manifestation of your inner limiting paradigm popping up to just hold you back, right? It's kind of like the funny image that comes to my mind is kind of like, those movies where the kids are going to fight on the playground, but the guy's like showing a tough front, but he doesn't really want to fight. So he's like, hold me back, right? That's kind of us, right? Where we're like, yeah, I'm going to do this big thing. But really we're like, hey, hold me back. Make sure I don't have to experience this terror barrier, right? So there we are. And I'm going to walk you through a practice that Gay Hendricks offers for one of those upper limits, which is worry. And if you've watched my video on the letting go method by Dr. David Hawkins, this is very similar. You'll notice it's not a coincidence that these practices are really, really overlapped, because it's about the somatics of this. The worst thing we can do when we're moving towards something big, something new, a new version of ourselves, a new self-image, the worst thing we can do is really engage with that worry at the mental level, because our minds are master movie makers, master storytellers, and they don't necessarily tell stories that shine the best light on a circumstance. We kind of love to be the victim at some level, and that's the movie that's going to play again and again with that worry, the worst case scenario. And that's fine to be smart, to be proactive and think about these things. But the best thing we can do with this upper limit of worry is a little practice where we don't engage with the movie of it, and we get down into the somatics and we let it release. So here's kind of the step-by-step practice offered by Gay Hendricks. And like I said, this is so spot on with the letting go method that you could almost just replace them interchangeably here. So here's what Gay Hendricks says. You're moving towards something big. You have this gnawing sense of worry. You might even call it anxiety coming up about this, It's like, well, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if that person says this? What if this meeting doesn't go well, right? Okay, there it is. Notice it. Notice it. And rather than engage with the worrying thoughts, see if you can shift it into this question. I like this question. What positive thing is trying to come into being right now? Isn't that cool? What positive thing is trying to come into being through me right now, through this worry? Okay, so now there's a bit of curiosity. Now there's a bit of reason to get through the worry. And then from there, watch the body, observe the body, and literally notice physically in your body where a positive thing is trying to come through. I know that sounds really conceptual, but when your awareness is on your body, you're going to get information. You're going to get sensations. And just notice which one you associate with this positive thing that's trying to come through. And then just kind of open your focus on this body feeling and just kind of settle. Whenever the movie tries to kick back in, just release, come back to the sensation in the body, and then feel it as deeply and as long as possible, as long as you can. Just let that feeling be there. Don't try to resist it. Don't try to repress it. Don't try to change it. Just let it be there. Let it process. Let it move if it needs to. And then release. And then later, maybe not in the moment, but at some point, an idea is going to come into your mind, a little bit of clarity about what this positive thing is that wants to come through. And you've already released and processed some of this energy behind this upper limit. And by focusing on this positive thing, you're doing this reprogramming process, right? Watch my video on the subconscious mind for a little bit more about the reprogramming. So try this practice. I know you're a human being. You're moving towards something bigger and better. You desire it. You crave it. And you're going to get stuck, because we all do. I love this because this is a practice that's accessible to all of us, whether your next thing is big or your next thing is quite a simple thing, but the worry is crippling you. I invite you to try this practice and ask yourself this beautiful question: what positive thing is trying to come through as I'm overcome with worry? All right, give it a try. Let me know how it goes for you.